But that's a comparison to evolution. It's a good analogy, but it's not apples to apples. You know?
Well,
It's not
information
apples
is
to apples.
information.
Go ahead. Somebody else. If somebody else wants to go, I mean, I'm going around in circles.
Information is information. So in that sense, it is apples to apples. And whenever you have a loss of information, it's detrimental usually, right? So penguins can't fly. Imagine how badass they were when they could fly, if they ever could, above the air and in the water, right? They could get away a lot easier from their predators, right? So changing the code is usually not good.
Well, the thing is, there's many theories that we don't lose information, and the thing is, information is information, but it doesn't make the processes of the formation of that information apples to apples.
So
talking about
something could be
Apple, like
similar
Adam
without
and
being the
Eve.
same, right? So apples and apples is the same,
It
but
all goes back to
like
the apple in the garden.
That treacherous woman. Why did she trick us?
A woman? Nah, she didn't trick nobody. Adam knew what's up.
You think so?
Adam was a pervert. Adam was a pervert, bro. He loved his
Let's
woman.
stay on
more than
topic,
God.
guys. We're gonna veer off if we do that. We're gonna go into religion.
But like I said, it's just it's like coding, binary code. That is something something an agent, an AI, human, whatever has to formulate. Genetic code isn't. That's where it's not. That's where it's not on the same thing. It's not the same thing in that regard. But it's the same thing in other regards as well. But it's a good comparison, but it's not a direct analogy. You know what I mean? It's very similar to language. It's a good comparison, but it's not a direct analogy.
So we're back to the how did something from the water make it land? That is the ultimate question. And so far, with all due respect, I don't think you've answered that question.
I tried to.
I know you tried.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like I said, it's allowing for time to be part of the equation, and then it's that progression I was saying. You know, fish, frog, lizard, mammal.
It seems like the way you lay it out, anything that was trying to evolve would like be wiped out by the time it would even catch on.
What do you mean by that?
I always thought that, yeah, there's a bit of that, and there's also the idea that I would have thought, anyways, that even if you did end up with like an advantage, it would like just through random mutation, it would dissolve back into the like the DNA data script by the time it's sort of procreated with a whole bunch of other things.
Right. And you'll never get to Michael Jordan that way.
Well, that's the thing. That's why it's like when you like with humans, it's a huge possibility. But like you have so many creatures that are created, and other like frogs and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like all little tadpoles and shit they form. I mean, it's just the speciation happens on those levels because they have a higher reproductive rate. Then the traits do kind of go back into the population. It's alleged that hairlessness was selected for by males because it was more advantageous for us at the time to be endurance hunters and to be out in the sun and be able to sweat and things like that. And having less and less hair was more selected for. And then that trait was passed down through sexual selection, essentially because the males who were more successful were the ones that were procreating more to the females.
That doesn't even make sense because hair blocks sweat. Like a hairy eyebrow, if you're under high intense activities, a hairier eyebrow would be more beneficial because it stopped the sweat from going into your eyes.
That's why we still have eyebrows. That's why we still have
Well,
eyebrows.
so, yeah, but we didn't evolve to have big ass eyebrows, right?
We have, I mean, that's why we still have eyebrows.
Some people do.
Yeah, we don't have like forehead hair, eyebrows that lead it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
because it was more
obviously the
advantageous for
eyebrows
those.
didn't evolve.
So
But
if we're gonna,
that's what I'm
Talk about
saying.
the hair.
that's your taste in women, though. You don't want the forehead hair.
My
Yeah, but the hair
eyebrow
does
is
that in general.
my eyebrows are here to distinguish myself as the most sexy of y'all.
I thought it was to communicate surprise. No.
I mean, like I said, that and we still have hairs. They just got more refined and smaller. We're actually hairier, but it's funny if you want to differentiate morphology between what you would call an ape. The really only trait we have that they don't are chins. Kind of funny. Neanderthals didn't even have chins.
Not Chinese, am I right?
Wait, they had chins they had teeth with no chins?
They didn't have we have this jutting little thing, almost like a weapon down there that they don't have.
What's the
You're talking
evolutionary advantage of a chin?
That's, a lot of people
Talking.
are trying to figure that shit out.
Because doesn't it
Talking,
leave
bro.
doesn't it leave you vulnerable? Like if you cop a punch in there. I
No,
don't know.
it's actually that's one of the things that they're saying. It was something that made you more susceptible. Like it was a battle advantageous thing. Like I said, it's almost like a weapon too. Like there's a lot of people that are looking. Like I said, that's the only thing you can kind of say.
What? You
A chin.
weaponize the chin?
Yeah.
You ever-
They be
you ever-
chinning you.
I've
They be
heard of a
chin
head
checking
butt. What's a
people.
chin butt? What is that? What do they even mean?
It's a
I'm
chin
always-
swipe. It's a swipe, bro. It's more of like a
Just strafe
You know,
your
you-
L2 and forward.
yeah, like
forward.
a strafe. Yeah. It's like kind of like shake your head, but one movement, kind of like a slashing motion.
Yeah, or like if you grow your hair real long, like a kung fu guy, and you like tie a thing to the end of it, and you whip people with it.
So like
Bro, if you
the
catch them across, if you
UFC
catch
guys.
them,
Speciation, bro,
You do
because
a
they're
good-
still bred, right? Ain't that the mainstream narrative? Is that they bred? That's not speciation. Speciation
least
is
we
when
don't-
you no longer can breed.
At least we don't have a
bro,
chin
we
like the
can't breed
bloke
with
out of Men
monkeys.
in
What you
Black.
talking about? They were never, but we
It's a good
never
thing,
bred
Terry.
with monkeys. It was never a point where we did.
I didn't say monkey.
Well,
Well, we don't know that. We could have had like a really high end man, and then he's like, and then they forced him to make it with an ape, and then we started out there. They could have started out there. There's no way to know like where the good stuff gets into the envelope here.
You know, it's a high end man.
I don't know, like
just
better
a
than
mega
all of us.
chat.
Yeah.
Like all of us like better than like where we're at.
It's kind of interesting, right? Because like a jawline is considered to be attractive. What's that based on? Is that just based on the fact
Women?
that someone's like got good like body mass index or something?
Crack a walnut in your jaws. You're a good catch.
Nah, bro. Okay, so if someone comes up to you, they square up with you. You did the chin slash across their eyes. They're not blind. You automatically are gonna win that.
Oh, definitely.
What are you talking- Dude,
That's a
I
good
ain't
one.
seen no UFC fighters like weaponizing the chin. Okay, I don't see that.
It's a chin and pound.
They don't know the true caveman ways. When we were monkeys,
It's
our chin was like kind of sharp.
Yeah, it's so
And then
deadly,
what?
it's illegal. It's banned from
He
competition. That's
broke
And
how
his
then
own-
bad it
nature
is.
put some hair on it and made it all sort of like cushioned or something. Like, why wouldn't it sharpen your chin even more? Why wouldn't you just have like razor blades coming out of your chin or something? This doesn't make sense.
Like a Wolverine.
That makes that.
No,
makes
dude,
it
you're supposed to
seem
grow a
like-
beard when you're supposed to grow a beard when you're a dad after you've used your chin to conquer your foes, and then when you have the kids, you grow the beard out so they can like rest against it, and it's soft. And it's not just a rock hard chiseled Chad chin.
Yeah, you gotta keep the beard to, so you don't get punched. You gotta slip a punch. Yeah,
Good old
nice
chins.
slippery chin beard.
Yeah, no, those are all funny.
Like Neanderthals don't have them.
assessments
You're
of a
saying?
chin. Huh?
Like when do chins show up in the evolutionary chart?
Homo erectus.
Like, it is kind of interesting, isn't there? There's sort of like a malformation of the chin, particularly with like young kids who don't chew a lot, and you end up with that like sumped in chin or something.
Well, And then some teeth malform. I heard of excessive. What's it called? Where they stick their thumb in their mouth, like when they're a baby.
Thumb sucking.
Yeah, that.
I
Fucks their
don't even
teeth
think
up.
that's necessarily as bad as what they say it is. I haven't quite worked that one out yet.
I don't know.
It may even actually theoretically be a remedy, because if you've ever heard of mewing,
Oh yeah.
if anyone's familiar with mewing, that is essentially you stick your tongue at the top of your palate and you apply pressure, which can sort of develop your face a little bit better. And
thumb sucking is
I mean, if you're
horrible.
sucking your thumb, you're putting pressure up on the top of your palate there.
And it's moving all
I
your
don't know.
teeth forward. It's moving all your teeth forward, and it completely deforms your teeth in your mouth.
I'm just gonna refrain from a joke.
Well, the
I can hear
alternative,
it, bro.
That's-
You don't even have to say it.
the alternative to the overbite would be the flat look, right? Because they say there's a pattern with kids that get braces to align their teeth and get everything lined up perfect, that their face doesn't like develop as much outward. It creates more like a flat front. And it's like a common trend amongst people that get braces.
What, you get flat face or something? What are you talking about?
And that's why that mewing dude, that has that channel on mewing, like he talks about all that. I guess his father like originated it or whatever. And he's saying the importance of doing that, of your resting state of your tongue. He actually has evidence of it too. Like he does like before and after photos. There's a lot to it.
Am I bleeding through? I have the crisp on. Isolation.
You crispy.
Yeah, we
man.
hear you.
I'm trying to be crispy.
I'm talking like thousands of shirts. Just
I was gonna wear there were that many NASA shirts.
no, we'd like have to make them. I think the effect would be hilarious. After all, like is concerned, we just flood the entire homeless population with space gear. I think that's funny.
Yeah, so next time sort of a crackhead shows up on what, like CNN or something, it just says NASA.
Yeah, like why is that guy having a NASA shirt on? That's weird. Like, no, I saw this other dude
Retards really support NASA for some reason.
was fishing out of a dumpster. He had a whole NASA jumpsuit on.
Very stereotyping. I like it.
That's my great idea for today. I guess we're done with evolution.
Yeah, like what do we got? Like
It was-
walking fish.
It,
Walking,
it evolved into this conversation. So
It was
there you
it
go.
was like 6 hours. I think was it 6 hours of evolution?
You been here that long?
No, I like had a whole sleep cycle, and then it was still. I was like, "Are you still talking about lungfish? What the fuck, dude? You talking about what? A fish? The whole time?
Yeah.
The
What about
fuck?
the humble guppy or something?
I could understand, some fish stuff. You know what I mean? But like to build a whole entire 6 hours out of it, I couldn't
Well,
even
I
begin.
mean, I guess he does like kind of. I mean, he doesn't actually have a proposition to put forward. He just likes destroying the current thing.
It's like the analogy: you throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
That's funny.
What proposition would you have me put forward? It's ridiculous, bro. I do have a proposition. It's
Oh, yeah?
design. It's
Okay.
design. It's creation.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
You posited intelligent design, I think, as a sort of. You did say
Yeah,
intelligence. You said some kind of intelligence. I don't know.
Yeah,
Is that where you're
that's
at?
correct.
I suppose, I mean, could I impose something on you? I mean, if you're sort of positing that it's how would you call it? It's intelligently designed. It must have a purpose, and in order to suppose that it's like, what is it like? You're supposing that it's intentional. with with intention, but you don't know what the intention is. All we know is that it's essentially it wasn't intended that way. That's a pretty crazy thing to sort of get your head around. I can understand why people might default to something like evolution at that situation, just because otherwise
If
you're
you got
you're left with the confusion of the why of the intent to design something such as.
Well, that's a
if you
fair
got that-
statement, but
and if
that's
you-
like saying, where did we come from? It's like you're asking that. You're asking me to come up with how we came about, essentially.
Yep. Yeah, put a stake in the ground. You see, all the Bible guys, they do it. You gotta find. I don't know.
Well, I
I'm actually
have,
kind of
bro.
with
I
you on
have.
it.
We are created, but not by the God in the Bible. And I've said it many times. If you ask me straight cut, I'll say, I think some unimaginable force, call it what you want, call it God, call it whatever, we were created. There's no two ways about it. We can't just evolve from chemicals on its own. So there you go, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
there's my stake in the ground.
Like-
SC.
Go ahead.
Hey, Riz.
Go ahead, mate. Go ahead.
Have y'all heard this new trending thing? The mathematicians have proven we're not in a simulation.
Go ahead, Don.
Can y'all hear that?
No, I haven't heard anyone disprove simulation theory yet. Cole
Anytime
might
you're
be
ready.
interested in it, but I'm down. Like, what do you got for us?
I don't know enough about the language, but it's this new thing like over the past week or two that the mathematicians have proven. They've proven with the math that we're not in a simulation.
They've simulated running the numbers, and that's what they got.
Yeah, so like, what do you mean? You got anything else? Like, just the
I don't-
mathematicians have
Well,
decided, or
They could be in a simulation, Don.
Dude, I'm just saying it's the new like
new
it's one
hotness?
it's a new piece of the narrative.
They got a new theory, eh?
Can
I
I
gotta
ask
visit,
you a
like,
question before we move on, Rich Guy? In
Yeah,
all
sure.
fairness?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think? I'll throw that back at you. What do you think of evolution? And if you don't believe in it, what do you believe? Like, I'll give you the same question you asked me, but with the precursor. What do you think of evolution?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I mean, dude, like a lot of my stuff is like it's regretful to say, but I don't really have a position. All I know is that we're being lied to pretty hard. So whatever the mainstream says, like it's almost like auto hoaxing, essentially. Well, what am I saying? Almost like it is basically just auto hoaxing it. There are like massive plot holes within the evolutionary paradigm. Darwinian theory seems to be more about racism than anything else. That's what the fella pushed. And it's almost like they took the idea in order to create the social structure. So at large, yeah, I don't buy it. There seems to be a purpose and intent to the world. My background is in design, and I don't even know how I really describe it. Like you just know when something looks as if it's by design. To me, it just appears to be by design with purpose and intent. It wasn't random, chaotic happenstance that created this sort of. I don't know. It's borderline perfection. I don't usually like to use the word perfection too much or avoid it, but it's borderline perfection in the way it's instantiated. So, I mean, yeah.
But like, if you were a
it.
dog, you would feel like it was borderline perfection too. You'd be like, I know I'm just a dog, but it's borderline perfection right here. We've got the highest dog form. Like,
So, Sky, basically what I said.
Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Although I do have conundrums about the idea of, I mean, I say like if it's by design, then it's sort of almost incumbent upon one to sort of, I don't know, maybe it isn't though. I haven't really come to a resolution on that. I just feel like, I mean, if you're saying it's by design, then you should have a pretty good concept of the purpose, meaning of the design, what it was intending to do. But I refrain from that myself because, I mean, I'm just not there yet. I haven't got the wisdom or the arrogance to assert such a thing.
It's like, how do you design something like this? Anyway,
That
Evolution
is
took
the
us from.
question. That is the question.
At first, they wanted us to think it was just random, all random, coming through the design. Now they're like, oh, it's a little more design to the evolution. I want to know, like, does it hurt? Are they trying to erase, like, really try to put evidence out there against God? Like, they're like, oh, we can't be in a simulation, so there can't be, it's not, can't be God. You know, like, it wasn't. It's so weird. How did they know any of this?
Well, evolution definitely was designed to negate God, in my opinion.
You gotta ask yourself the question though: why is there such suboptimal things in the design of the human that no engineer would make if it was actually being designed by someone intelligent, let
Male
alone
nipples.
someone supremely intelligent like a god?
You're talking about man nipples.
I want, yeah. Why do men have nipples? That's it.
No, I mean, just there's all
God,
kinds of
God
things.
wants
Everything
us to
from
say
the weakness of the human foot due to all the bones in it on this very load bearing thing to our spine, the curvature in our
Okay.
spine that makes us prone to blowing out discs, the fact that our retina has a hole in the middle of it, so we've got a blind spot in the center of our vision, we can't see all
Jake,
around us, so that we're prone to being stalked by predators. Like,
Okay. Can we just address
okay,
one? I get it. You got a
okay.
good list. I like your list. Let's
I
go
mean, I
through
could
it
keep
though.
going on and on. There's all kinds of
No,
things
I
that
don't. No. But like, okay. But I mean,
Imagine.
compared. I mean, I just asked quickly, right? Just a couple of quick questions. Like, compared to what the human body is a bad design? Compared to what?
Compared to the Terminators that we're gonna become, because Jake doesn't know God's plan, and I'm sorry, God isn't strong enough for Jake.
Okay.
I
Well,
didn't
think
half heard
is that a
that.
Rich
Yeah,
Evans?
Don,
Like,
your mic quality is decreasing. It's de-evolving. It's
Yeah, you
de-evolving.
de-evolved in that statement.
yeah, I'll tango with the idea that the human body is what subpar. It's not great. I just like whoever was it, Rich Evans or who said that stuff?
It's not great. What are you talking about?
Jake said it, I think.
We can
Jake?
slam dunk
Okay,
basketball.
Jake.
What
Jake's my
animals are
man.
slam
Okay.
dunking?
We're gonna
Jeez.
interlock. You're gonna be my interlocutor on this, Jake.
yeah, sure.
Okay. So what is a better form of design in your opinion? Like than I mean, you got complaints about the human body. It sounds. I mean, is it biology at large that is insufficient in your opinion, or I mean, because
We can look.
I've tangoed with SE on this topic actually. Like, but go ahead.
I mean, we can look. We can look and see at if we were able to pick and choose. Like there are more optimal things in nature, right? Like the octopus eye doesn't have this failure of the blind spot because the optic nerve doesn't have to traverse through the center of the retina, right? We can look. We can see that there's animals that do have vision 360 degrees, so that a predator can't get up behind them. There's all kinds of, there's animals that have a back that's far stronger and more laid out, so it's not so prone to blowing out discs and having
Okay.
chronic injury.
We're
Okay.
better than all that.
Can I
We
just
have
answer
some
one of
of the
those? Don, don't spurg out like you just don't. Okay.
all right, but
Please.
some
Yeah,
like
I'm going to try to address it. I'll kick this stuff off, and I'll concede the mic in about 2 to 3 minutes, right? Okay, so in the aspect of nature at large, it is not to become how would you call it, like the ultimate prey animal that can see in all directions and always be avoid becoming food. That is not the nature of nature. You actually do need to at some point you need to fit within the mold of nature at large. So to have an animal that is completely you cannot catch it, it cannot be turned into food. It just doesn't serve the purpose of nature at large, right? So that kind of idea of this ultimate even predator or prey animal that can avoid being killed or can kill everything, you don't want that within the complex of nature. It's just not necessary.
and we
Actually,
are still the best.
you need the gazelle needs the lion as much as the lion needs the gazelle, and that is there's a relationship there going on. If you ever look at gazelles, some of them actually dance in front of lions in order to show off to the ladies, how much how good their DNA is essentially, right? So that sort of pits that to one point. So it actually if you were to come up with an
It's quite
ultimate
interesting.
solution for any of these things, it's not going to resolve. It's like nature doesn't want to do that. And then what was the other aspect, just quickly?
Okay, so you're saying that God purposely designed the human form with all kinds of flaws in it so that we could be like food for lions?
Well, I mean, like if you were omnipotent and capable, I mean, what need would you have? I mean, the whole idea of, I mean, in my interpretation of existence and life is actually to have challenges. And yeah, you've got a certain amount of energy that you can expend in the day. There's a certain amount of food that you can digest in the day, whatever you want to call that. And you need to use it wisely. Otherwise, I mean, what's the point in just creating an omnipotent being that can survive and is impenetrable? Like, just go play a game in which you turn up all of your values, and you can't be sort of beaten by. I mean, so you can beat every other like evil thing on the map. It's not going to serve you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to have any challenge. I mean, the whole purpose of life is at that point is just null and void. But that is the conundrum of the evolutionists, right? In my interpretation, I think there is actually a meaning and purpose to life. I haven't quite worked that out for myself, but it is there. And then what's the other thing? Yeah, like I just don't think that you want to develop an ultimate form. It wouldn't serve the purpose of whatever this material existence is. I'll end there for now.
Okay, so and babies have to eat through the same mouth that they breathe until that they choke when they're 8 months old. Because why? Because that's a great learning experience for them. That's a great challenge.
You want less holes in, like, generally, like, so theoretically, right? You have the minimal amount of holes required in order to get the process of biology done. So you start adding more holes, you add more problems.
Really?
Well, we already.
Like your mouth being located right at your face, where you can control, like when you go into the water, you can close your lips. And I mean, actually, maybe that doesn't work as well because, I mean, what is it? Orcas and other mammals
Yeah,
have
dolphins have a
they live under the
blowhole
sea,
that's
have
dedicated for
on
breathing.
top. Yeah, good point.
Elephants
But
have a trunk.
I think you just have to wonder, and I'm with you. Okay, so and obviously now we're deviating very far from any biblical ideas, right? This whole idea that, well, God tried to make a balanced ecosystem, and so he couldn't make like an indestructible human that was just like that was basically like the predator, like it's such an alpha predator that nothing even stands a chance. Like okay, I'm with you on that. You know, it's just like a video game, right? Like you don't want anything to be too OP because then the video game isn't any fun, right?
True.
Like it's got to be like a challenge.
We almost got the cheat code though, Jake, right? We almost could like figure out how to live forever almost, right? Or almost figure out how to engineer a perfect back, or maybe make the perfect pair of Air Jordans, right?
well, that is actually kind of the other thing I would add as well is, I mean, we look around at the world, we think, the human body is malformed, not ideal, and then we build robots that sort of emulate the body and form. Turns out actually, like, the human form is like, what is it? 4 limbs, 1 head, torso, all of that sort of stuff. I mean, it's pretty ideal for most mechanisms to have something like that. Something for locomotion down the bottom, something to like your hand, that's your legs, sorry. And then what have you got? Your arms and hands. That's to manipulate, objects in front of you, and you can bring it up to your eyes and close by and whatnot.
The only reason why we're making
And then,
humanoid robots
dude,
is because they need to interact with things that humans interact with, because those are
Okay.
designed around humans,
Fair point.
and because to make us comfortable around humans. But if you look at like the vast majority of like industrial robots, they are not the human form at all. Everything from roofing robots to robots that build walls to robots at the car factories, they don't look like humans at all.
yeah, but like, just think about it, dude. Like, you're fueled on carbohydrates, protein, and fat, and you can choose between those, or fructose, which is carbohydrate technically. So, and then in your head, you've got a camera, those are your eyes. Then you've got a central processing unit, and all of this stuff is just running on basically stuff in nature. And then what, you can move the camera around using your legs, and then you can manipulate objects in front of the camera with your hands. Like, dude, it's like the whole morphology of the human being is amazing. Like
Just like the
you've
AI
got
robot.
the best eyesight bar, like the eagle, basically. yeah, or maybe some vultures. So you just don't need that kind of eyesight. It's just not necessary. But like,
But you've
dude,
got
we're fucking. It's
we got
crazy what we can
cameras.
do.
We got cameras, Rick. What the fuck you need your eyes for?
Yeah, well, that's the irony of the situation.
And the eyes
I
don't make a
gotcha.
great camera analogy. The eyes actually do a lot more than just they're more than just cameras.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, they're more than.
Do you know how many times, like today, I caught somebody staring at me and I whipped my head and they were staring at me? Did you know how many? And it's not because I look weird, but do you know what I'm saying?
So humans
That
suck.
means you've
Why
been
do you
pumping
look
up your
weird for
pineal
No, I'm
gland.
saying it. There's something with the visual connection, like what we're doing with our eyes is different than what a camera is doing. I think.
They've proven that, they've proven
The
that
camera.
we have. Well, listen, Jake, it's called
you
a
have
seventh. Jake, it's called a seventh sense. They've proven what dude just talked about.
Yeah,
Seventh
the eyes are
sense.
actually part of your. The eyes are part of your brain. There's a
I
whole
think
bunch
about
of
12
visual
times I
processing
caught it
that
today.
occurs. Bunch of visual processing that occurs in the eyes.
Like if you I think animals know it too. It's like it's a weird subtle sense, but I think you can tune into it. If something happens enough, you just start getting acclimated to it. That's the way the everything adapts to shit.
I remember I had to work a glory hole once,
Go ahead.
and when I looked through it, like you could tell that people could tell they were being looked at.
Yeah, it's proven.
So,
but why?
So how does that's got to be working?
Better than cameras.
That has to be working in like some kind of EMF level that's triggered. It's not just I have a psychic idea that something else is observing me. That's not the deal. Like there's got to be some electrostatical bullshit reason. There has to be a reason for it. I'm sure that it exists.
It's EM.
So
look it up. I just posted the article about it. Dude. It's real shit.
So how does vision work that way then? Like it's part of vision. It's not because of intention, is it? It's because it's all beings can do this.
They've done a whole bunch of blind tests on this, and humans cannot statistically outperform random chance at telling whether someone's looking at them or not.
You're wrong, dude. I just posted an article that says otherwise, Jake. Why are you not willing to look up what I'm telling you?
Where is it?
It's called the Seventh Sense. Seventh Sense. Look it up.
Can you post the paper?
Oh, God. You can't just type Seventh Sense into Google if you're at the computer, but you can search my name. I'll post it again. Oh.
So
like I think I actually saw some. I avoided a deer because I think somebody saw me and the deer opposing, but I didn't see the deer. I saw their expression and them seeing me, and I just immediately stopped my car for fucking no reason. And then the deer just flew right fucking by me. So like I don't know what the hell that is either. It's just reflexes, and I think that there's like a very subtle network of like instinct reactions that we wire to, and I think it's varied by heredity, like how that's kind of wired. But the physics of it, that they're not. That's a system that all Animalia is gonna be using.
All right, Jake, if you want to read it, it's in the chat, man. There you go, dude.
So, I mean,
anybody who wants to read it.
Yeah, Jake will probably have a look. I'm just like I'm thinking, right? It's like, what is this ideal of like the human body's like imperfection? Where does that come from? I think this is something we've been told, because it serves like medical industry or something to say that we're fallible and all of this other bullshit. Have I resolved the notion that we're like a badly designed creature at that point? Like this, that.
I think it's your personal simulation rendering. It's a rendering process. Like,
Yo, Rixky, we had like a back and forth a couple of months ago. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, I remember you, dude. You're a very interesting cat. You don't like the flat Earth idea, but you seem to be down with a lot of the other conspiracies.
Yes,
so, I mean, that's where you sort of delineate yourself from the heterodox position. But yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'm still looking for someone who did actual testing,
Testing? I mean, dude, have you been paying attention to the celestial theodolite? from Alan and the crew over at Ether Cosmology?
No.
Oh, so I'll just give you the lay of the land just quickly. Essentially, what they're doing is taking a measurement of when a star is occluded by a mountain in the distance. That's why it's called the celestial theodolite. It's an angular observation, comparing that of the peak of the mountain, thus the ground, and then what happens in the sky. And they seem to be suggesting that basically this delineates the notion of flat Earth versus globe. And yeah, go looking into it, man. Like, are you a math fella? Do you like geometry? Like,
Is that like some random people on YouTube or some people you know?
no, they've done about 30 presentations in this room. Not just some random fellas. I mean, not the way I see them anyway.
I mean, would you agree that basically flat Earth conspiracy inherits that everything around you is basically created by the CIA or by the Illuminati to create a fictional world to give you the perception of a round globe?
No, I wouldn't quite
mean,
articulate it like that. My observation would be that they're taking sort of natural observations and basically, I wouldn't just say like conflating them, confusing them, and sort of jamming them into a globe interpretation
but
using sort of
I'll just
standardized formulas. But yeah.
the question, what I'm having here is basically if you believe that everything around you is fake and an illusion, a Hollywood production, if you will, right? Then why would you believe anyone on the internet in any case?
On the
Like,
internet, like people on the internet are just people. What does
mean,
it
it could
matter
be
if they're on
more
the
so.
internet or not? You're a guy on the internet.
But
Yeah, I
didn't
could be
Rixky just
more.
respond no when you asked him if y'all thought it was some kind of Hollywood thing? He said no. So why did you just repeat that and ask him? Like you're just asserting that onto him? You said that
So,
something about the CIA made everything into a Hollywood movie or something?
yeah, Geo.
But I'm saying he didn't. He said no to that. So I don't know why you're asking, as if he said yes.
Yeah, but I mean, let's just be a little bit realistic here. So, how do you come to the flat Earth if basically the world tells you it's a globe and then you're saying it's not a globe? That basically inherits that you're saying all of them are lying, right?
There's a lot of lies in the world, but I mean, I mean, if you're talking to Rixky, I'm not trying to jump in. I was just trying to moderate because you had repeated the thing you said when I didn't hear him say that. Yes, he agreed with your characterization of what it would mean to lie to the public about what the Earth is.
So, Rixky, let me rephrase my question. Did the theory of the globe come with science or with fiction? Well, I think
Did the theory of the globe come with science or fiction? Look, I mean, you're going to get me bringing up Francis Bacon again, but science seems to be a sociological movement that basically insists or informs in some cases, but mostly insists that you should interpret the world through the scientific method, or what's the terminology? It starts with an E. I can't recall it. Not experimentation. Empiricism. Larry, you know what I'm thinking. So science insists that you should use empiricism in order to analyze the world. And I don't think that that's a limit of the way that you should interpret things. So science actually seems to be more of a social movement that purports itself to be kind of, like purely derived by creating fact, attaining facts. And like, just to wrap that up, it would seem to me that the scientific endeavor is heavily involved in creating its own mythos. We see that through the medical industry and various other forms, trust the science and yada, 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 that, science purported itself, or it came about in order to dispel like a myth and what's the other terminology? Sort of irrational thought. But then at the same time, science seems to be involved in very much crafting its own mythology and creating myths or superstitions at large. Despite the fact that it sold itself as a solution to like mythos and superstition, and yet it seems to be creating the superstitions at the same time. It seems to suggest to me that it's not doing what it purports itself to do.
So I have to rephrase my question again because you're using here a lot of words for not answering my question. If people are saying they are working in the field, right, and they're doing earth measurements or whatever, weather casting or whatever, astronomy or whatever it is, right, and then they are saying, we know for a fact the earth is a globe, right? Are they making things up or are they telling the truth?
Well, it's come to my sort of general analysis. The way that people comport themselves is, I mean, they tell you what they think, and they will tell you it as if it is actual fact. So all of these people in the medical industry and whatever other scientists, there's a money well there, and it they'll tell you that climate change is legit, and because they're a climate scientist, it's of their own self-interest. So this is
it's difficult to debate if you're making that broad of a claims. The astronauts who are floating around the Earth, right, who are either in a green screen or actually floating around the Earth.
Oh, they're definitely on a green screen.
They are in a green screen, right?
Largely. Sometimes it's not a green screen necessary because they've got control of the complete background. So it's not always necessary to have a green screen, but yeah, at large, that is they've brought Hollywood into reality at that point.
And the people who are building satellites which are floating around the planet, right? Are they building real satellites which are floating around the planet? Or are they building some kind of a fictional story to make you believe something is floating around the planet?
The latter.
Okay. So basically, the inherent conception of the flat Earth is that there is some kind of a Hollywood programming going on. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we'd have debated now 10 minutes for basically what I said first. So if we have to accept that basically everything is Hollywood or a big part of our knowledge is Hollywood, right? Why would we trust any random person on the internet? It could also be that this person is just a shell infiltrating Mossad, Illuminati, whatever. Do you understand what I mean? It could also
You're trying to use psychology tactics, bro. You're
I'm
trying
not
to.
using
You're trying to.
psychology
You're trying.
tactics.
We get it,
Go ahead.
RG. It's all good.
Go
It's all
ahead.
good. We can deal with it. Let him espouse his position. That's all right.
Gotcha.
It is very basic understanding. If I have to discredit basically all knowledge given to Earth, then it makes less sense to just watch some YouTube video and be like, but this guy tells the truth. Can we agree on that one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you expect to find the truth on the internet, yeah, I mean, it's like a needle in a haystack situation. There's probably a bunch of truth on the internet, right? But you got to wade through and whether or not like the idea resonates with you. But this idea that there's like any one person can tell you the absolute fact of the nature of reality, I would challenge that.
Okay. So basically, if we cannot trust anyone, right? Because that's basically what's the knowledge here, then it would come to fruition if we do our own experiments before we believe things, right?
To some extent, yeah. I doubt it's really within the capacity of all individuals, given all of the claims of knowledge, to test everything individually. So I would push back in the sense of like at some point you actually do need to sort of just trust your senses. And we kind of brought this up a little bit like the seventh sense or the sixth sense, whichever one you want to go with. that at some point you trust your sense of like, this person, I like this person. They seem to have like, in the past they align with a lot of your views. Therefore, you're more inclined to trust them. There's no like this whole idea that absolute trust is a thing, versus like, you can basically, as soon as one person says something that you disagree, and you don't like that person, necessarily means that you need to disagree with them. I wouldn't be on that with it either.
Okay. So I agree, by the way. So basically, just a question before we continue here. I feel like, would you say your belief in a flat Earth, okay, comes from some kind of magical seventh sense and trust in some unknown, or it comes from knowledge?
It would be crafted from sort of a discernment factor, which is like the evaluation of multiple different variables at the same time to sort of discern whether or not you're being told the truth. I establish most things based on sort of like just my social feeling. I prefer sociology to mathematics. I think it's underappreciated personally, but yeah, that's my general answer.
So basically, you have accepted the reality that everything around you is basically a lie and created by a fictional story to give you a false perception of your being by your sociological belief system.
I don't say that everything around me is a lie. There is such a thing as love, but it has been manipulated. So I wouldn't be sort of so cynical in my sort of assertion in that regard.
Okay, I don't want to be cynical. I just try to make it understandable where I'm going. So
Can I just say something real quick, Anon? You do know that for thousands and thousands of years, humans had a planar stationary Earth without any globe liars involved. So, I mean, to have a cosmology that has a planar stationary Earth is not dependent on the fact that today there's entities lying about a globe. Back then, there was no liars to even be a factor, or any Hollywood anything. So, it's been the base cosmology for humanity since the dawn of time.
Also, 150 years ago, people showered basically once every 5 months and died because of fucking insects. I mean, we can use.
Most people like lived a very healthy life. If you look at any of the skeletal remains of these people, they have very straight teeth. People like they acquire diseases, and that is just the nature of like. I mean, you're gonna get old, you're gonna get diseased. Good luck.
I am against the pharma industry, and I think it comes from hygiene, not from the pharma industry. But fact is that basically 150 years ago, people became 60 years of age. So we are now outliving them by 50% of our lifetime. Anyway, let's not talk about.
How do you know?
I mean, it could be a lie.
You don't want to talk about it? That's cool.
It could be a lie. So let's not talk about it because obviously it could be a lie. You know what I mean?
Well, you're gonna trash ancient people and not talk about it. All right.
Oh, that's all right.
No. But Gio made an argument, but we have to admit in our belief system that everything around us basically is a lie in the perception and Hollywood. Also,
I don't agree with that statement.
Our past could be a fiction in Hollywood. So maybe 500 years ago, people actually believed the Earth was round, and they didn't believe it's flat. It's just a misconception and a creation by them. So how do we know what they believed 500 years ago or how they lived? Obviously, we don't. So let's not debate it in a way. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. I mean, sounds like you're trying to get to the point. So, what is the point, in your opinion?
Okay. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, we will. I think I'm not sure if we come to there, but let's try to figure it out. So let's the flat Earth, right? Would you say that if the Earth is in some kind of a container, right? Gas has to be contained, or however it's perceived, right? So if we are in some kind of a container, our governments all around the world who all play the same game, basically faking space and whatever, who are all connected in this big lie, right? Obviously, because they're all participating. Like, would you say it is in their interest to figure out if we have a container or no?
Well, I would say that they've probably already ascertained that there is a container.
Yeah. Okay. And would you say it's most likely that outside of the is something else than what we don't know what it is, but probably something thinking is there.
Yeah, water's above, if you want to go with that for the complex. A plasma, I don't know.
Okay. But something built the container. Can we agree on that one?
Yeah, I mean that of a containment of reality or sort of that of nature. Yeah, sure.
So it would only make sense to create a fictional Hollywood story if you would know why you are doing it. For example, to hide the people, for example, to hide the farmer, if that makes sense. Basically, we might be a farm and we to hide that you are in a farm and basically you are being held like cattle, you would hide the knowledge of there is a gate outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Okay.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, the flat Earth inherits two things. If we come to that realization, first, basically everything around us is a lie and created Hollywood story. Obviously, not personal interactions, but everything big, like what is the Earth, what is the universe, and secondly. Probably we are some kind of subspecies to a superior species, right?
I think
Yeah,
you're making
you're
a
adding up.
consensus out of flat earthers, though, right? Like if everyone was on the same page, right, then you would have a basis. So what you're saying is true, but it's
Let's not make a claim about all flat earthers. Let's figure it out where Rixie is going. You know what I mean? So I don't wanna put
it's a
everyone
false
in the same
dichotomy.
pot. I don't want to put everyone in the same pot, obviously, because who am I? You know what I mean? Definitely not the guy who understands the world. But let's understand it personal level from Rixie. You know what I mean?
Let's. What do you mean? Your view, basically. Let's. When you say let's.
Like this is just like a methodology of analytics to understand like the complex of the conversation. So I mean, I don't mind. I'll be the guinea
I
pig
just
or
feel a little
the guy on the
offended.
front row.
Just a
It's interesting.
little offended. Sure.
I don't
Go ahead,
want to offend anyone, bro. I don't want to offend anyone, and I would be convinced even if I don't want to put everyone in the soup. But most people will result in the same understanding than we are resulting here. So
I mean, are you a flat earther or a globe earther?
No, I'm
Globey
nothing.
or a flatty?
I'm nothing.
He's a. I'll look like quickly. RG, like he's basically he kind of generally agrees with a lot of the conspiracy theories in the form of like the banking sector and manipulation in that sense. I don't know where he's on like medicinal or the medical industry, but yeah,
9/11.
largely
he knows 9/11 the sketch.
Yeah, he's down with the 9/11 stuff. Like he's cool with that. It's just the flat Earth stuff. There is a subsect of the what do you call it, conspiracy community.
He's a normie. He's not a anti-flat
Oh,
earther.
he's not a normie.
That's kind of why I was. That's kind of why I was asking.
A normie basically means that he's not really anti-flat Earth. He's just not down with flat Earth. That's what a normie is. The people like Brenda who have been like following us for like 10 years wherever we go.
Trolling, yeah.
That's different, right? This dude is a normal dude, and he passed the smell test because if he says 9/11's kind of fishy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got a question for him.
Right?
Are you interested in like the views of, I would say, a majority of flat earthers, or are you just kind of one like leaning one way or the other? Are you?
Yeah, I am in the flat Earth community since many years. I want to be honest. So I had similar conversations a lot of times in my life. So I'm also happy. I just want to say it. In Germany, we had like the RKI leaks, basically all documents from the German equivalent to the CDC and equivalent to the German Foundry have been released by a whistleblower. We know everything about COVID now. I'm very happy to debate COVID after, if you're interested. Like, I'm not here to insult anyone, but I think it's a little bit interesting. So, sorry, Rixie, can I continue with you or no?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I appreciate it. So basically, for you, for you personally, not for the flat Earth community as a generalization, but for you personally, would you say there is there's some kind of an ideology in your brain which says, "I am held like cattle by a superior race," in some kind of a Hollywood production as an ideology?
Yeah, there's definitely some sort of the nature of enculturation, that of the culture, seems to be sort of imposing a certain interpretation upon the world. But the thing is that it's not a strict fence. It's not a hard line. It's not a wall. It's more like a sort of gradient that you transition through. That's the way I'd kind of respond to that. Make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be a dome. It could be some transitional thing, whatever it is. So the point I'm making, or the point I try to make, is if you have no personal evidence, right? But we should not trust anyone around us, right? And most people in this channel, I would generalize now, probably all of them, maybe one or two not, but probably all of them, have no own experiments done, right? So no real experiments, no real proof for themselves. So if
I
you
went
are
to the ocean. I went to the ocean. So yeah, you're right. It's a generalization. Please continue.
Okay. So you can talk about your experiments after if you want and show us the data. So the point is, what I'm making is, if you have like a group of people who support each other's claim with just knowing claims from other people, but without real knowledge, right? And the outcome of this claim is basically you are enslaved in some kind of a cattle farm with a superior race farming about you. Would you say that that belief system is actually worth to have, or is it actually harmful?
Well, it depends on whether or not it's true. If it's true, then you should respond to the danger. If it's not true, then you are making false preparations.
Yeah. But do you know if it's true? Do you understand what I mean? Have you done work in your life, right? Outside of your seventh sense, outside of some kind of magical social, I understand the greater scheme just by accident or whatever. Have you done anything in your life, right, which would allow you to go into a state of slavery, basically, in your mind, right? Because you know it's true that it's actually happening.
I got lost a little bit along the way. Where you seem to be trying to impose the idea that, what is it? I've been enslaved for what reason?
Like, if you have to accept that there is a superior race controlling the gate, right? And then there is like this superior knowledge not given to you. And then there is like the superior force creating an illusion for you, basically in Hollywood production, right? That
Yeah, we do that
basically
every time we
also
tell
inherit.
stories. That's what human beings do, for sure.
Yeah, but that's not like a good night story. That's a story to alter your perception of reality. Do you understand what I mean? It is to play with your mind. If the globe is not real, then everything the globers do, everything these people do, is to create the perception of your reality, which doesn't allow you to see the truth. Do you understand what I mean?
A little bit, but that is just, I mean, dude, even though our conversation now is an exchange of, an image or an idea of what reality is, right? So, I mean, every conversation you have with someone is effectively formulating that. You're just mapping on what your version of reality at that point. This is
Yeah,
like
I
what you're
get.
actually referring to at large seems to me like is just the nature of sociology or like the way that human beings communicate. It's not actually sort of a critique of
Basically, what I try
the
to
world at
deliver
large.
here, or what I try to say here, is right that the flat Earth community as a whole, in a way, honestly, I'm sorry for generalization, but it tries to create like somewhat a culty experience where you, as a person, to be participant of it, have to accept slavery of a superior race and basically living in a fictional reality. Do you understand what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
It's a
but
very
flat Earth is
unhealthy
break
state.
a breaking of that, like that syndrome of humanity. It's a breaking away, like to diversify yourself. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, but it's not healthy to diversify yourself with a belief you cannot prove.
He thinks flat Earth is a psyop, basically the way he just described it, to make people feel trapped and enslaved. He said it here before. He is
Oh,
pretty hard. He is pretty
Yeah.
hardcore anti-FE,
No,
as it
I
were.
appreciate that.
But yeah, that's what it is. So he thinks it's a
I stand
psyop. So he's
corrected.
leading you down the whole thing to try to tell you
I-
why it's a thing to trick you, to make you think there's an alien race, and to make you paranoid and make you feel enslaved and all this stuff. It's like his whole thing. He's said it before.
I
as
don't
well.
mind it though. Like, I mean, you got to test things, right? So, this gentleman, like, he likes to test, and I don't mind being tested in that frame. But I mean, at large, as far as I'm concerned, if I bring it back to the scientific method, sociologically speaking, it's engulfed in its notion of trying to convince other people of the nature of how the world works. Thus, I mean, that is the nature of power. It was instantiated. The scientific method was all instantiated by the notion of power. And I suspect at large that it's just basically trying to confuse us. So, yeah, that's where I'm kind of at.
well,
Uh,
okay, then I just want to
it-
make one last point, but you end the debate if you want, okay? Like, you have to obviously the last sentence. So I just make the last point for me, okay? We can change topic after for me. But what religion does, what the Flat Earth community does, in my opinion, what all these supernatural, superior belief systems do, where there is no actual reality behind or no actual truth behind, or you don't know if there is truth behind or whatever, because it's so difficult to even understand what's going on. What Gio said is somewhat true. So it basically tries to hold you, even if it's not a psyop, you know what I mean, but it holds you in a state of being useless, right? So religion, for example, by
no, it's
itself,
not uselessness, dude. It's
yeah.
like
Oh, I mean,
it's your own ability. Like, once you recognize the problem, then it allows you to individuate yourself and
okay,
challenge
wait,
that.
wait, wait,
You're not getting
wait,
sucked into some other. I mean, maybe
wait,
you are
wait,
a little
wait.
bit. I kind of get where you're coming from, but go ahead.
Wait. To the room. Anyone, please speak up now. Who was in the last 3 months of you protesting any protest publicly?
What would that matter?
It matters because if not, then it's basically, you see what I mean? Like, religion tries to tell you the Armageddon will come anyway. We need the Armageddon. Jesus will come back after. Basically, every one of us will be dying.
Okay. But why does it matter if I show
So,
up at the street, like in the
so
street or
as
something,
soon
to
as you
the
accept,
cause?
I think now
as
he's
soon,
coming from the angle that the psyop makes you pacifist or whatever. Just lay it on us. You've done a lot of dancing around. Just give us your
not
No, he's
your
good.
pacifist,
He's good.
psyop,
passive.
script.
I think
Tell
Not
us why
it's an
whatever.
it's
listen,
look,
not
Anon. It's an
pacifist,
interesting.
not pacifist, but passive. Do you see what I mean? The conspiracy becomes so big and so unbelievable and so unrealistic and so difficult to understand that the whole world circles within this narrative, but without any kind of action, right? So
What's the
not even the
difficulty to
experiment,
understand, though? I don't
not
understand. Like, why is it difficult? Are you just assuming it's difficult to It's way easier if it's flat. It's way easier to understand that than like
bro.
some sort of spherical geometry.
If you think it's easy to understand that everything around you is a lie and you are basically held like cattle under a superior race, knowing where the gate is, but you don't know the gate, if you
What
think that's an
gate? You've
easy
mentioned this
thing
a
to
couple of. What gate
understand,
are you talking about, sir?
And
I
what
mean,
What is
superior
it, like a
race?
gate out
bro.
of this? A gate out of the realm or something? Like, you seem to be assuming that. You've mentioned it a couple of times. I just want to
Yeah.
understand what you mean by that.
I mean, if someone built a container, probably this container has a gate. Do you understand what I mean?
Maybe, but you're just
I mean, not
assuming that.
maybe. Let's
Like, I
be
mean, you're
honest.
encapsulated, dude. Every time you wake up in the morning, guess what? You're encapsulated within your body every single time.
Bro, come on.
So you're captured by your body.
If one chicken on the chicken farm says to the other chicken, I feel like we're gonna be slaughtered at the end, and I feel like this farm is actually not good to us, and I feel like we should search for the gate, and the other chicken is saying, what kind of a gate? I feel like you are encapsulated in yourself. Maybe there is no gate. I feel like you sound a little much like this chicken now. I want to be honest here. Like, you know what I mean? It makes no sense to believe that you are basically farmed like cattle, but there is no gate. So
There is definitely a farming issue that is like to behold. They do it through the banking system, and they extract your value. Like essentially, human beings create value in the world. We rearrange matter to formulate that of value to whoever it sort of presumes to buy that value. But that's essentially what human beings do. So it's like an emergent property from human
Yeah.
beings, and why would you not actually access that? I mean, if you're actually in the if you think about it in the Sims situation or like that video game, I mean, why would you not try to extrapolate the value that man creates? It's so obvious that they should.
Like I don't want to put it into the length without any need. I really want to make my last sentence. We can change.
Well,
the
Anna,
topic.
hold on before you? Can I just ask you, like, a lot of these things you're saying? I mean, yeah, these are all ideas. You were the one that brought in the idea of like a superior race or like an alien race, or there's even the idea of like reptilians, or that there is some kind of other race, behind all of this. And you brought in a couple other ideas of feeling enslaved and things, and there's a lot of different angles and ways that could be thought about and so on. Like, are we being farmed by some other, wealthy beings and so on, and the money system and all that. But I don't know exactly your position on everything, but if you already know that 9/11 was a huge deception, if you know that, the COVID thing, the big pharma, the banking, the media, the coercion in terms of the media, even the oil, energy and oil, the way the governments, the politics, if you already know all of that,
Yeah.
are all these things you're saying the case with those two? Like, if you think 9/11, was a deception, that all the stuff you're saying, it could potentially all be the same. Because I know that you're like against flat Earth, you want to eradicate it, and you think it's hurting the other truth stuff, and you think it's discrediting it. But I guess what I'm asking is that, like, if you already know about all these other deceptions, why would the Earth really be that much of a difference? Like, it's just another thing. Like, we're being propagandized and lied to about a lot of things, including the media, the medical, all that stuff, GMO foods, and what the Earth is. Why would just what the Earth is be that much of a difference? It would just be like adding to a huge stack of lies that you would just add moon landing was fake, the Earth is not a globe, into the already huge pile of lies that you already know are going on.
Yeah, I think that makes the question is fair. The difference between the flat Earth and every other conspiracy on the world is that every other conspiracy on Earth has actual proof. I want to say it. Everyone knows 9/11 was fake. There is a lot of whistleblowers. There's a lot of facts. There is a lot of documentation, a lot of science regarding it. Everyone knows COVID was fake. We have now the whistleblowers in Germany and whatever. So I do feel like it's important before we have a belief system that we accept that we need some kind of truth in knowledge before we accept it. And also,
And
there's
I
a
have a
difference.
question.
Right? Let me finish the sentence. That's the difference in all of that, right? The flat Earth inherits, and that's where I wanted to go. Inherits some kind of a superior race, obviously. It has to be. Do you understand what I mean? And the superior race basically makes us useless. It is
Why
how
would it
it
have
is.
to be a superior
The,
race? It
the
could just, I mean,
9/11.
I have my thoughts on it,
And
but I mean, it could, well, for
if y'all
any of
don't
these
mind,
deceptions, you could try to claim that it has to have a superior race. I don't know whether everybody would agree with you or not, or people that think they're superior, I should say, whether they are or not. But I mean, there's different theories on that. But even if they're lying to us about 9/11 and COVID and all the other things that you probably agree
let me
with,
finish the sentence. It
say
will
the
make
same
sense,
thing if
bro.
you
It
want.
will make sense.
whoa, bro,
It will,
Anon, you got to go, brother. You're jumping in like I just did. Like you're
I
overpowering
mean, I
with your
was asked the
speech.
question, bro.
But you did hold up. You did say every other conspiracy has proof, and
Right.
flat Earth has none. You have to prove it. I say, show me some curvature, right, at any altitude. Should just without a curved lens, right? Show me curvature first. Let's start at the basics, and
Yeah,
then
I can assure
yeah,
you, okay, I can assure
we can talk.
you in people I don't believe in, like Flat Earthers on YouTube and like Globers on YouTube, there is more proof for the globe on the internet than for the Flat Earth. Like, I don't
Well, you
believe
could
both of
listen.
them
You just
because
came
I
in
don't
here.
know it.
You just came in here,
Listen,
bro, and
I don't
said
think
that
we
you
should
were
believe
Flat Earth
anyone on the
community.
Guys.
Bro, you
Okay,
came in here
let me,
All right, you
let
guys,
me
hold
deceptive.
up.
finish.
Just hold up for a
Bro,
sec.
you
But
came in here
that's a
deceptive.
well, it's a big
Very
topic. Like, 'cause
deceptive.
I
Yeah,
know
go
he
ahead.
said that. That was like the first part where he said there's no proof for it. We could get into that. Obviously, many of us don't agree with that, but somebody could come to you, Anon, and say there's no proof 9/11, was anything other
Nope,
than mainstream
it's not
story, and you
possible.
would disagree with them. So obviously, we're going to disagree. We could go into it. But do you remember what? If we want to, you can. But do you know what the second part of what you were going to say was? Because I might have jumped in, or I don't think we interrupted each other too much. But what was the? So your first thing was you think there's no proof for it, and then what was, because you were trying to delineate the
Yeah,
differences
I'm
between
happy to explain.
9/11, the media is deceptive, the big pharma, and why just the Earth not being a globe shifts it to where in your mind it does this whole other psyop thing that you think is problematic or whatever you
So
often say.
basically, everything outside of flat Earth and religion, right? It means there is an equal level playing field, and there is people players on this playing field who try to create lies and destruction and harm and trauma and pain and war and whatever.
Yeah.
And the flat earth and religion says you are a figure on this game we have created. So basically, you are not equal anymore. To stop that, you are basically a subrace, some lower. You are an ant. Do you understand what I mean? In
Yeah,
my
this is how
worldview,
psychopaths work. Psychopaths
in my
lie.
in my
to-
worldview,
you're
let me
tapping
finish the
into the.
sentence, please.
Let me just
Let me
interject real quick. Yeah. Well, you're tapping into the mind of a psychopath that, yeah, they feel like they need to be above other people and superior in their own deep inner pain and character malformations and so on. So, okay, but
But
that
they
could be said for
aren't.
any deception, though. It wouldn't
Listen,
have to
listen,
just
they aren't. They aren't. That's the point. They aren't. They are normal humans, right? In my opinion, there are 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 Illuminati cabal people on this earth, and we would be 8 billion people on this earth. Literally, we could end all the suffering and all the perception and all this dumbness and all this trauma within a minute. It would be no issue to overcome the Cabal and the Illuminati because, in my opinion, they are just creating the illusion that they are superior. So I say
sure, yeah, I don't think Lenny would
protesting
probably agree
would
with
be a
that.
good idea. Okay, but as soon as you accept that basically Jesus is needed for the solution, or basically you are in solidarity in some kind of a contained
Right.
system by some kind of a playing field or
Are you,
whatever, there is no outcome anymore. Do you understand what I mean? The hopelessness is
yeah.
endless.
Are you conflating the belief in Jesus with flat Earth?
I mean, I conflate both of them to be a cult, yeah. So
Yeah, so that's kind of like they're actually separate ideas.
not really.
I mean, there is a correlation there. I recognize that the Christian faith does seem to be somewhat sort of attuned to like the flat Earth. I mean, in your interpretation, belief or whatever it is. But I mean, it's not necessary. Like it just because you're a flat earther doesn't mean you're Christian.
I agree with that
Therefore,
one. But it both
yeah, cool.
beliefs.
So why would you conflate the two then?
Because both of them believe, now both of them inherit that you believe in something absolute, unproven, unlogic, just by its core existence. And you have to re-engage into it, basically, maybe even a lie, all day long with your friends, so everyone knows that you are part of the group.
Okay. So
So
I
it
think
is,
you're conflating Christianity with flat Earth, and your dislike of that particular religion is causing you to sort of angst out
no,
and sort of
I conflict
you don't
all
like flat Earth
religion.
because you don't like Christianity at that point.
I conflict all religions with flat Earth. I conflict them with a cult. They have the same reasoning, the same outcome, the same behavior. They have a different
Okay, but
belief
what?
system, but it doesn't care because the outcome is the same.
Can I jump in?
Go ahead, Larry.
Go for it.
What about the cult of the statist?
About what?
State-sponsored genocide. The cult of the statist. Someone who believes in no God but the God of the government.
Yeah,
To worship the state. A bootlicker is how we say it in English.
Yeah.
Yeah? So
Yeah.
what about that? What about that cult? That culture, 100 million people dead last 100 years, state-sponsored genocide. And it wasn't just one country that did it. It was many countries disarmed people and then mass genocide. Took their guns and then took their heart rate down to zero.
As soon
Millions
as
of
you have
people.
some kind, as all of them are basically also the same, because for example Hitler and the SS and whatever, they also believe they are superior race to some kind of a subhuman. So basically all these cults inherit by itself that you dehumanize or animalize basically a part of a civilization. So as long as we live in a society where dehumanization or superior races or animalization of living beings basically exists and can happen, then we will always live in some kind of a cult which allows genocide. Yeah.
I can see
Can
your
we
argument at
also
large. I understand where you're coming from.
let me just wrap it up with this. Just real
Go ahead,
fast. I'm so sorry.
Larry.
Let's not forget about the Holodomor or what happened in the Soviet Union or Stalin's Russia. Let's not
Yeah.
forget about Rwanda or the French Revolution. All these things happened over and over again. It's not just Germany.
Yeah, because all of them are constantly kept in a state of understanding that they are superior. And
Oh, I
the
got
flat Earth does exactly the same, just in the other side. We are sub. We are not the superior ones. We are the sub ones. But it's the same state of being. Do you understand what I mean?
I think
I tried to humanize you, bro. I tried to say that you were a normie.
I am.
So,
I am.
Yeah.
yeah.
Look, Anon, your critique actually seems to be a problem with the way that people culminate together around ideas, not actually necessarily the idea itself. You seem to reject what religion and sort of belief structures, and you think what flat Earth is discernibly a belief structure similar
Yeah.
to that of a religion.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say that you're ascertaining it in the wrong way, in my opinion. It doesn't seem to be that because what is it? I mean, you got Christian fellows that believe in the flat Earth, and other people that they're not atheists, but they're sort of they're not of the discerning faith of Christianity or any of the Abrahamic gods for that matter that sort of incline themselves towards flat Earth. So it kind of dispels your understanding at that point. I also say that at large, yeah, people do generally culminate around ideas. That's just the nature of the way that we sort of like
Resonate.
we find each other. Yeah, we're just attracted to it, and that's the nature of ideas that you're ascertaining at that point, not actually a critique of whether or not flat Earth is like necessarily religious. I don't think we're necessarily religious, dude. I've been around these parts for long enough to
I think it's
denote that.
and also I think it's inherent for us to try to keep each other as honest as possible to feel like it's truth remains important. For me anyway, and that's what I like about flat Earth community.
Yeah, I mean, Anon, a lot of people. I mean, I hear you have your viewpoints. Now, some Globe folks will come in and say, "Oh, it's a cult, and so on." That the Earth being planar and stationary, or if they use the term flat Earth, they will say that, or some will try to say that because they're kind of in their own viewpoint on that. However, just so you know, though, there's a very strong viewpoint on this side that the Globe is actually a cult belief because for a lot of reasons, but we are programmed with it from a very young age. It's clearly pushed by the powers that be, without a question of a doubt, in many people's minds in terms of the globe itself. It's something we don't experience, we don't measure, we don't in any way, it's not a part of our actual reality of the Earth being what they claim it is. And what we all experience it to be is planar and stationary. So which one would be the cult? The one that's a belief that you have to have faith and take a leap and, kind of be programmed from a very young age to like indoctrinate it into your mind, or the one that is just our lived experience. Now, I know that it could all be debated and there's different sides that could say no this and no that. I understand that. So I'm just saying that there are a lot of people that think that the globe is actually the religious cult You know, and it's meant to, yeah, keep people in a framework of, you know, detachment from what reality is, you know. So you could answer that yourself. I mean, how do you
Yeah.
experience the Earth?
And just to add real quick, you know, and so what you're saying is we don't experience that force upon our body like, you know, like it's said to be, right? So physically lived experience and intuitive, like just knowing, right? That so those two combined, I don't think the globe has both of those. They have one side of that that
Yeah.
is indoctrinated onto you. So you know what I mean? It's like always in the back of your mind, and you're scared to speak out and afraid to stand out and be unique. And what he was saying a minute ago, very forcefully, was guiding. I could just tell. I smelt it from the jump. And then he came in under false pretenses, saying he was a flat earther. When I asked him, "Oh yeah, for 10 years, for a long time, I've been a flat earther." And then you see he slowly led into pushing it on you like education does, and that's why I kind of got upset a minute ago. So
Yeah. I mean, maybe we should also speak then about, you know, what I feel like what Geo says makes sense. Could be that globe is the conspiracy as well. I am not advocating for the globe. I'm just saying I don't believe in NASA or whatever. But I mean, just by sheer numbers, there is a lot of more people who say they
bro,
have
you're flip
proven the
flopping,
globe
bro.
than the flat
Hold
Earth.
on. I don't know if I'm the only one noticing this, but you're going back and forth, bro, and it's a little confusing. I know we can all handle it. We're big boys, but I'm just calling you out, man.
I
You're
don't know
coming
for
back
what
and
you're
forth.
calling me
Well,
out
he
here.
he just did the ad populum, you know. He
Yeah.
kind of hinted
Go
towards
ahead.
ad populum, but he didn't
I don't
finish the
see. I
thought.
don't see the logic why I should defend the globe. I'm not here to defend the globe. Do you understand what I mean? I don't. I don't care.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
No,
I
no,
do feel
I'm
like
not saying that.
I do feel like a lot of people, even if they are not believing in the flat Earth, they live in some kind of a cult system. Do you understand what I mean? They definitely
Yeah.
a huge percentage of our society lives in some kind of a false narrative, hamster wheel or whatever, where they are circling around their fucking tragic life all day without
Yeah.
any outcome or any reality. So I'm not defending any one
I
of
agree.
them.
No, I'm not saying you are. I agree, but you do realize that education system, public education system, is the ones making the biggest mental cult, right? It's a mental prison that they are
but
trapping you in, and you're. I don't know if you
that's the
realize it,
typical
but
arguments of
I do.
Holocaust deniers, bro. Would you say the Holocaust was real?
Dude, we're not talking about that.
I'm
We're
just no things, experiments coming from your own doing.
what's the difference? Would
The
you believe it?
difference
Because
is
it's on a
the
video. It's you
difference is
don't. You hold on. You don't know what I look like, right?
yeah.
How would you know?
The difference is, I'm telling you, the difference is if this is a community
It's
at
the
the moment.
experiment.
Can I finish a
It's the
sentence without being interrupted, bro?
okay. Yeah,
The difference
sure.
is, okay, if we are now in a channel with 20 people, where 19 people of the 20 are convinced that they are controlled environment, Hollywood illusion and whatever, but no one of them has actually done experiments for themselves to prove anything. Everyone around them circles informations coming from third hand, which we basically shouldn't trust in. And then it
Right.
means that the cult belief of itself becomes even crazier. Can we agree on that one or no?
No,
I mean, you're
because you're
making a
going
lot
way
of
off topic.
generalizations. Yeah, there's
Way
a
off
lot of
topic.
assumptions and generalizations, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people in here who are surveyors who have measured water not curving. There's people that have done all kinds of tests. So you're just making a blanket statement and you're trying to say that no one has done anything, which is just not the case. It just seems like it's kind of more towards rhetoric rather than like a genuine, like you could say, oh, let me, you know, what do you guys, you know, what do you have that I could consider or take a look at this, that, or, you know, instead you seem to kind of just want to be, what's that term? Like lambasting or lambasting. You're trying to just like lambast this group of people that you think don't have any validation or any evidence, which is not the case. I mean, there's tons of evidence we could get into, and we could,
Geo,
and but the thing is, you could consider it for yourself. I mean, I don't know if you know, there's the whole thing, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink kind of thing. So, I mean, nobody's going to change your mind or anything like that. It's up to you to consider it all. But I mean, you'd have to look at it all yourself and also weigh it in comparison. I mean, the Earth is a massive object, and it's not easy. This is how they've been able to pull the deception off, in my viewpoint, is because it's not an incredibly easy thing for just your common person. I mean, I know they claim most sticks in the ground and some of these assumptive things that the Globe claims, but yeah, I mean, it's not as easy in a way to validate, you know, but I mean, you could say any of these things. I mean, 9/11 is virtually impossible unless you were there. It's virtually impossible to know much about anything. And, you know, I mean, it's all internet media, basically, if you talk about 9/11, or, you know, even the COVID stuff is majority anyway. So, I mean, it's hard to get, but that's the point. If you're seeking truth and want to look at everything, then that's, you know, the quest that you
Let's
can be.
make a distinction here, okay? 9/11 had 9/11 architects and engineers for 9/11 truth, all right? A whole group of studied, educated people giving in their public name, researchable identity, the knowledge of their findings, right? That's believable. That's believable. Some kind of a doctor, how John or whatever, on YouTube, who has no LinkedIn, no documentation about his real being, where no one knows if he is really a PhD or whatever. That's unbelievable. You see, there is a difference. We have a lot of evidence from a lot of very well educated people about 9/11. I'm just saying. So Gio,
Well, I mean,
just for me
some would
to understand,
contest
you are
that.
the
I
leader.
mean, they're,
Let me finish this sentence.
I
So
thought
just
you were
for
finished.
me, no. So just for me, as in you are the admin of the server, right? You are basically, in my opinion, somewhat the cult leader, without being disrespectful, just being honest here. So have you ever done for your life personal experiments with whatever measurements, or have you ever been on the Burj Khalifa with a super zoom telescope camera and have zoomed into Qatar or whatever on World Trade Center? You know what I mean?
Hey, just to
It would.
mention, Architects for
So hold
9/11,
on.
loose change was
Yeah,
on. Hold on, was on
hold on,
YouTube.
RG, bro. He was
All that
referring
was
to
on
me.
YouTube.
That
Okay,
was
cool.
kind of a
Just,
barrage. He was targeting that towards me. So the first thing you said, what I was responding to is, first of all, not everybody would think that those architects and engineers are reputable. There are people who deny that profoundly. People that believe the mainstream story of 9/11, they will go on and on about how that they are not, you know, respectable, or, you know, or that their information is invalid. So I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of different angles and perspectives, you know, one could take on any topic. So I just wanted to say that, because that was the first thing you said. So I mean, not everybody does think that that's necessarily. Secondly, I mean, there are a lot of people with credentials that have claimed the Earth is stationary and planar. So I mean, there's that as well. There's plenty of people with credentials. I think it's a much more like heavily censored and suppressed thing than 9/11 was, you know. So there's that as well to consider. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, man, it's up to you to, you know, come to your own conclusions, and, you know, I mean, what is your goal? Do you want to know what the shape of the Earth is, or what is your goal? What is your overall, like, agenda?
I want to be honest. If I would think I'm a chicken on a chicken farm, and I'm basically farmed inside of a container with some kind of a farmer and a gate, the only question I would never ask myself is, what is the surface I'm standing on?
I mean, I don't think I'm being
I-
farmed. So you're trying to make it sound like everybody that has a
It's not
planar
about you.
stationary Earth
It's not about you.
thinks
It
that they're
doesn't care.
being
Whatever.
farmed by an alien race. I mean, that's not
No,
how
no,
I
no,
see
no.
it.
Even if there is no alien race, even if there's no superior race at all, okay? If I
Well, I
am
don't think
locked
we're
in a
trapped either.
container, if
I don't
I'm
think any of
locked
these.
in a container and all of these people create
I
the
don't think
light
I'm
for me,
locked into a container. Well, hold on. We got to stop at one thing at a time, because you're making these statements about what you think, quote unquote, flat earthers, and then making all of these claims that not everybody holds these positions. I mean, the Earth being stationary and planar is a cosmology. So, I mean, we discussed tons of topics on here, including 9/11 for thousands of hours, and all kinds of topics about what is true and what is not, and all these different areas. But I mean, the Earth itself, like, being what it is, it's like nature. It's just people want to know what Earth is, what creation is. It doesn't necessarily always have to be like, I don't think I'm trapped in a container. You keep saying that over and over. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to have a genuine conversation, instead of just saying these things that, I mean, if somebody else said that, you could debate them, I guess. But In no way do I think I'm trapped in a container. So where'd you get that from? And why are you assuming that everybody that has a planar stationary Earth somehow thinks they're locked into a container by some alien race and that we're, I mean, that's not necessarily what everyone thinks.
I mean, the 5 fundamental principles of the flat Earth, I guess, but I might be wrong. Water is always level, gas is to be contained, Earth was measured flat. Can we agree on that one or no?
Some of them, not all of them. No, I mean, it depends on who you're talking to. I don't
If
think you
I
could just.
would believe, listen, if I would believe that everyone around me in the powerful creates this superior fake around
Oh,
me internationally about the globe or whatever, right? To give me the false perception about my reality and whatever. And I think every flat earther believes that, at least, right? That's basically the inherent narrative of the flat earth, that everything around you created for the globe is basically Hollywood. Then the last question I would ever ask me if it's a level under me surface is flat or whatever, bro. I don't think that's an interesting question in that topic at all. I mean, what shape?
hey, Alex.
Yeah, I mean,
I
people are
did drop
lying to us. I mean, if
a
that's new to you, then that's new to you, then that's new to you. But I mean, we're being lied to on many, many levels. If you disagree with that, then that would be a whole nother level. It just sounds like there's a difference in which ones are lies and which are not. But you're trying to make it sound like if somebody has a planar stationary, or if you like the term flat Earth viewpoint, that somehow puts them into some different category rather than just realizing a bunch of other things are lies, like 9/11 and the media, the politics. I mean, dude, I don't know about you. I've known
Why
that
you
there's
always
tons of
conflicted, bro?
lies
Why you
ever
always
since I
conflicted?
was a child. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, that's just basic. That there's powers that be, as it were, whoever they are. I don't think they're above us at all. I think they're players on the stage, basically, and we're all a divine creation. We're not trapped anywhere. We're choosing to be here. We've created this whole realm for ourselves to experience and to experience all the nuances of consciousness. And yeah, I think it's all beautiful in its own way and has its own divine timing. I mean, it's unfortunate that we're being lied to in certain ways, but that has its own purpose as well, its own destiny. I mean, a lot of things are unfortunate. It's unfortunate we're being vaccinated, that they're causing autism in children, and it's unfortunate the GMO foods and all of that. But that doesn't mean that it's like all some dismal, horrible, that we're trapped by some alien race that's enslaving us. I mean, I guess somebody could have that philosophy in some way, but that's not just some default. Like adding the Earth not being a globe onto the other huge list of lies doesn't just change everything into the way you're incorporating it for
I'm
everybody.
sorry,
The
bro,
way
but
you're
it does. It does. Because the earth is the playing field. Do you understand? There is a difference if you are the imposter or if you are the admin in the imposter game. Do
I
you
don't know,
see
but
what I
Gio, that
mean?
was beautiful.
that doesn't have anything to do with it.
Alexander, I did drop a playlist for you that has multiple documentaries, even 10-hour lessons on flat Earth, 65 different videos. Even though they're YouTube, everything else you've watched and learned that you've mentioned so far is also on YouTube or Google or somewhere. You have to watch it to learn it, right? But anyway, I digress.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes,
I
sir.
will have a look, brother. I will have a look.
Okay.
So, but then I want to add something because Chio made the claim before that basically the flat earthers have also these communities of public figures who have credentials and whatever who are standing for the flat earth. And that's obviously not true. Like, there is not a single whistleblower from any agency who actually has done anything regarding NASA or whatever. CIA or whatever who told anything about the flat earth. There is
Oh
no
yeah.
science community who whistleblower the flat earth. There is basically 15 pilots on YouTube who are saying the earth is flat while we have like 2 million
Well,
pilots in space.
I think
Like this.
How do you designate a whistleblower? So
can I there was a whistleblower. Can I get in for a second?
go ahead, Larry.
Go ahead.
So Russ Grissom, rest in peace. He hung a lemon on the limb and was complaining that if we can't communicate between two towers, meaning buildings, then how are we going to communicate to the moon? and him and his crew were burned alive, as far as I know. And that by itself doesn't seem like much. But when you take that in consideration with the fact that Bart Sabrell goes to an astronaut's house and accidentally leaves a microphone, well, quote unquote accidentally, in my opinion, leaves a microphone in the house, right? And the hot mic picked up the astronaut's son saying, "Do you want to call the CIA and have them whacked?" That's a direct quote. "Do you want to call the CIA and have them whacked?" So it sounds to me like maybe, there's non-disclosure agreements and threats of death, but I can't prove that. That's a speculation. But why would the astronaut's son, just a good old American astronaut, why would his son say, "Do you want to call the CIA and have him whacked?" Is that a doable thing? Is that something they could do? Just call the CIA and be like, "Hey, this guy's questioning us about the moon landing and he's not really buying it. Like, maybe we should have him killed." And then if you listen to Bart Sabrell's interviews, he was a targeted person for a while. So I guess, it's up to you to believe what you want. Maybe the CIA is just like a puppy-loving group of hippies who just like want to control, like, music and stuff. They don't want to hurt nobody. I don't know. What do you think?
I think Rixie wanted to say something as well now.
No, nothing particular. I think he's adding to the general thesis that I would put forward is that if you can find a lie in one position, then it's probably almost granted that you should expect to find a similar lie, finding like within some other aspect of, I don't know, belief or sociology. So yeah.
Anon, since the moon landing was brought up, I mean, you know that one's fake, or do you think that one's real? The moon landing? 'Cause that's a big one.
That's fake. That's fake.
Okay, so you even think the moon landing's fake, dude?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Then, yeah, it's not that big of a shift. I mean, dude, yeah, because think
it's a
about
big
this, like
shift. It's a big
moon
shift.
landing. Well, they claim
Come
when they
on.
went to the moon on the way back, they took a photo of the Earth. So if the moon landing's fake, is that photo of the Earth fake too?
Obviously, it's fake. I'm literally getting a little bit upset here because you're always conflicting them kind of things, right? And they are not conflictable.
I mean, conflating that terminology.
Well, it's a pretty rare position to think the moon landing was fake and the Earth's a globe. Well, it's not.
No, there
well,
is
that's a
so
fair.
much
No, that's not rare.
evidence.
Yeah, that's
There
true.
is so much evidence that NASA is fake or what they're doing is fake, that the moon landing was fake. So much evidence, right?
Yeah, so
I
why them lying about the shape of the Earth? Why is that really much different than all the other lies they're doing?
Yeah.
It's just too big of one to you, or it's too like why is it that different? If you think that I don't know, this conversation, like you just seem to be pigeonholing what you think flat Earth, which you claim quote unquote no proof, and then you claim a cult, and then you
How
claim
can
it's
you
all
conflict something? Listen. How can you conflict something where basically hundreds of groups around the world, tens of thousands of groups around the world, right? With scientists, with researchers, with public figures and whatever, have created some kind of a truther moment with a group who juggles videos and gifs around them inside of the group over and over to reinforce their knowledge, which basically might not be knowledge at all. You cannot say that architects and engineers of 9/11 Truth who have inspected the video, who have calculated the free fall, who have calculated the strength of steel, and that it's impossible that World Trade Center 7 fell or whatever. You cannot conflict that kind of investigation with some kind of people on the internet who are like, "Oh my God, the moon landing was fake, ergo the Earth is flat."
I mean, it's not ergo the Earth is
Not
flat from
correctable this
the
way.
moon
One
landing,
thing
but
is research, one thing is a made-up statement. Do you understand what I mean? Like that's. Sorry,
you want
Vixie,
to
go ahead.
That's right.
Wait, I'm confused. Does someone think the moon landing is real?
No, not in this situation.
it's fake,
Anon has
but
a
he still
particularly
believes that it's a
unique
globe.
situation in
it's not
which
like
the moon landing was faked, but the heliocentrism model is true.
Okay,
So
Rixie,
I mean
before you
that's the
continue,
conundrum right there, right?
sorry, let me interrupt
Why
you
would
for a
they
second.
fake it?
Because you said I have a unique and unique behavior here, right? Because
Yeah,
you
bad
expect
terminology.
either you believe in the globe and in the moon landing, or you believe. So I just want to let you know, everyone around the globe was introduced to the flat Earth community. Everyone, with Alex Jones, Dave Weiss on Alex Jones, with Eddie Bravo on Joe Rogan multiple
Got it.
times, right?
Yep.
So
Sure.
basically, the flat Earth was introduced to hundreds of millions of people, while there is basically 30% of society are now conspiracy theorists, because we conspiracy theorists have been very successful in letting our neighbors know that there is a conspiracy going on. So while now 30% of our society are basically conspiracy theorists, no one of them, right? No one of them basically, statistically, came to the flat Earth. So everyone saw the flat Earth, everyone made thoughts about the flat Earth, but everyone of the people
That's
who are also conspiracy theorists by themselves, who believe 9/11 was fake, who believe Gulf of Tonkin attack was fake, who believe WMD was fake, no one of them came basically to the flat Earth statistically. So I am not a unique person here. I am
No,
literally
you're right. You're
30%
right. You're right.
of society.
It's a nature of the Overton window, as far as I'm concerned, and this is like comes down to psychology. How far you're willing to open that Overton window.
No,
You
that's
familiar
not
with
what
what
it
I'm
is.
talking about?
Yeah, I understand what you try to explain, but that's not what's going on. What's going on is that people have looked into it and they didn't see anything.
That's just your opinion, right?
Nope.
Like, yeah, and you happen to sort of espouse those people that you agree with. You're just espousing their rationale. However, other people, like for me, sir, when you mentioned the medical industry a little bit before, the nature of germ theory and whatnot, that's
RG claim before we change it up.
of course.
Okay, because I love to. If you check the YouTube videos on the flat Earth in 2015, when basically Eddie Bravo was like 4 times this year, or Joe Rogan talked every time about the flat Earth, then you will see that every video on YouTube regarding the topic of the flat Earth, 300 reasons why the Earth is flat, for example, all these videos from 2015, they have millions of views. If you watch now 2025, where basically people became way more conspiracy theorists than they have been in 2015, so the percentage of conspiracy theorists went dramatically up because of COVID and whatever. But Dave Weiss, probably the most famous flat Earth, not representing the flat Earth community as a general, but probably the most successful flat Earther in some kind of a reach, makes like 3,000 views a video. So that knowledge that YouTube sends us things, I don't think that makes any sense. In every conspiracy beforehand, we have seen that the conspiracy people who believe actually it was a conspiracy rises constantly with gain of knowledge. The only reason why the flat Earth doesn't have this rise of community is because there is no gain of knowledge.
Well, hold on. Now, I do agree with new people coming on board because of COVID, more time on the internet, so on and so forth. But flat earthers are seasoned veterans, brother, and these are baby new truthers, new conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
coming
So
in.
very few flat earthers ever fell for the germ paradigm of that of needing to go get vaccinated.
9/11, we have.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're familiar, we're real quick with the censorship that went on. So in 2015, 16, 17, flat Earth, the term flat Earth was pretty much not throttled at all as far as we could tell. It was just going, the algorithm was working, it was linking, it to all kinds of other videos that people, and just content that people were taking in, and other content creators talking about a wide range of topics. And then in like late 2018 into 2019, they did a hard censorship of flat Earth, the term flat Earth, pretty much everywhere on the internet, YouTube, and all other places. And it's pretty much remained that way ever since. So like in the year 2016, the term flat Earth was like for one of those months in 2016, it was like the number 2 most searched terms next to Donald Trump in 2016. And once they did that censorship in 2018-19, they basically crushed it way down to where anyone new trying to get into it or find any good information, it's very, very difficult to do. I mean, sometimes new people find us in here and they haven't even seen any of the stuff, any of the good actual content. So I'm just saying that is a big factor that they did censor it very strictly. In addition to the whole medical stuff as well. They censor pretty hard. But yeah, they just haven't really done that with 9/11. I don't think 9/11 is as much of a threat to them. They, the people talk about that. Even the moon landing stuff is not really as much of a threat. Obviously, the vaccine stuff was, and the flat Earth. And there was that one woman in Congress who literally said those two together. She said medical misinformation and flat Earth, that they're going to start censoring and removing from the algorithm and all of that. So that's a huge, huge factor. So that's just worth considering, that they did actually purposefully censor it and shut it down. And why would they do that if it was not true?
I honestly, after being 24 years of a conspiracy theorist, don't think that the government is strong enough to censor conspiracy theories. All of them are still rising. All of them are still. They also try to tell everyone you are basically a conspiracy theorist retard if you believe in 9/11. Oh my God, you are a terrorist if you believe in 9/11. And they did all the same games since basically Kennedy or whatever, let's be honest here. And none of them games have ever worked for any conspiracy. And if you are making the claim that it was successful in undermining the flat Earth community, I mean, you can make that, but I don't think that's statistically true.
No, it's just it flattened the curve and it slowed the spread. That's what it did.
There is
It
no-
just
there is
slowed
no-
down. Pun intended.
it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
too
for
good.
sure.
Right when
I
they're
mean, there
like,
is-
we need to flatten the curve and stop the spread and censor flat Earth and censor vaccine and roll out COVID. Yeah, man, they did a number. I mean, there's even some theories that they did COVID because flat Earth was getting out there so much that they had to suppress and muzzle everybody. There's even that idea.
Okay, so
I'd
let's
like
be
to
honest. Also,
Can I
Dave Price gets like 3,000 views per video since 10 years, basically.
Sure.
It-
There's
it-
controlled
it- it
opposition,
didn't-
and no
Dave
one's
Price
going to
didn't
deny
need
that.
COVID to become irrelevant.
Okay.
His information he was given made him irrelevant. I just want to say.
Sure. I mean, personally, I'd like to know, like, what's your position on the pandemic at large?
I mean,
I need to
in
understand
general.
it before I present to you a piece of information that I thought was rather fascinating.
Okay. So I'm happy. So, 7-8 months ago, I don't know, maybe 1 year ago, maybe already 2 years ago, we had some kind of a whistleblower in Germany, and this whistleblower has released all